Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. So in today's video we will be talking about Monchu. Then we will be talking about the recent details about Arthur Melo's recent actions with FC Barcelona. Then we will be talking about Rakitic and Coutinho, and we are first going to start with Monchu. So we do have some breaking news when it comes to this player, and it's actually some great news to hear. So according to Jared Romero, that Setien calls Monchu to prepare for the Champions League, and tomorrow if the PCR passes he will join the training sessions, meaning that Monchu could feature in the first team against Napoli. And yes, has Monchu been featured in the first team before? It has happened, but in La Liga. But we are talking about the UCL match against Napoli. Monchu will be in that squad, and what makes it even more exciting is that if we really look into the details of this squad and look at the midfield, there is very little options. And when you do have very little options, I believe that that is the reason why Monchu is being called up. And so the big question now is, could we see Monchu receive some minutes against Napoli? And I'm not talking about 20 to 25 minutes or maybe even 30 minutes. I'm talking about, could we see Monchu participate in the match against Napoli and play on that pitch for around 5 to 10 minutes? And this is something that we must consider and talk about, because if we do have Monchu participate in this match against Napoli, that is going to be huge news for Barcelona B and for us fans, because we must keep in mind that Busquets and Vidal will not feature in this match against Napoli. So having Monchu play in this match is a huge possibility, and there is no better way to recover from not having Busquets and Vidal than bringing in Monchu, because Monchu is almost identical to what Vidal is. And so it's going to be very interesting to see what Monchu can bring on the pitch, and that's only if this player does play, because this is a player that has continued to desperately show every time he does play for Barcelona B on why he deserves to be in the first team. He gives it all on the pitch, he leaves everything on the table, and I know that we can name so many players that play in that way who are like 19, 20, 21 years old. But if we were to compare Monchu to the Barcelona first team players when it comes to the midfield section of this team, Monchu really does stand out. Now, one of the big questions is, can Monchu be registered for the UCL? Because if Monchu never featured in the UCL match before in the past 10 to 12 months, how is Monchu going to be playing against Napoli in the middle of this tournament? And so it is possible that Monchu can be registered for a UCL match, which is against Napoli, and Barcelona can only register Monchu the day before the UCL match. And so it is extremely possible for Monchu to be registered, and that is why we are hearing that Quique Setien will be calling up this midfielder. And we do have some further news about Monchu, and it says here, according to Albert Rogue, that Valencia, Betis, and Real Sociedad have already asked about Monchu's situation. Barcelona is looking for a transfer with a 2-year buyback option so that the B captain can return. And here's my biggest concern, right? Because when I do hear a 2-year buyback option, that is where everything flips over for the player. Because if Barcelona want to build players and they want to build great midfielders like they have done in the past, why can't you build those midfielders in FC Barcelona? They don't necessarily have to go on loan in order for them to be built and be ready to play in the first team. And to bring the best possibility of bringing the best version of that player is to continue to give that player chances on the first team. If we look at Ricky Puig, he has finally been given chances in the first team and he is succeeding. We look at Ansu Fati, he went from Juvenile A to the first team and he succeeded from the start. And so Barcelona needs to really look at their history and try to repeat history and repeat the formula that they have been doing, which is to bring Monchu in the first team and really give him those minutes that is needed in order for him to develop. There is no reason for Monchu to go out on loan, because then we won't be able to see Monchu compete against higher level teams. If we put Monchu with Betis, he will never have the chance to play against teams like Napoli, Arsenal, Bayern, Real. He needs to be put on top European competitions. We have seen what Ricky Puig and Ansu Fati could do, and I believe that Monchu can deliver that exact same thing. And let's say, worst case scenario, Barcelona do decide to send Monchu on a 2-year buyback option loan. I really do hope that Barcelona negotiate the right deal. I do not want Barcelona to put themselves in a situation where they do put out Monchu into Real Betis, then needing to buy back their own player for around 20 to 25 million euros. That makes no sense. There is no reason for us to waste 20 to 25 or maybe even 30 million euros depending on how well he plays. There is no reason for that, especially knowing that that player used to be ours for free. So look, in the end, final conclusion, I hope Monchu does well. I hope that Monchu does put out a dazzling performance against Napoli if he plays, and hopefully because of that dazzling performance, Monchu would be able to stay at that club and Barcelona keep that player for next season. Moving on to the next topic of the day, and we're going to be talking about Arthur Melo. So we do have some some further details about this player. So just to give you guys some context, Arthur Melo did not attend on the pandemic PCR test that had to be taken by all the players in FC Barcelona. Arthur Melo decided to stay at Brazil, where he was on vacation. He did not want to return to FC Barcelona because he believed that he felt disrespected or for whatever reason. The conclusion is that Arthur did not want to return to Barcelona when he was supposed to return, and Barcelona did not take that well. And so now we do have some further updates, and it says here that Arthur Melo continues not to show for FC Barcelona, and he did not attend today's training session. And Arthur Melo continues to inform the club that he does not intend on returning, and he has also informed that he is asked to terminate the contract completely. And so because of those recent actions and what Arthur Melo has said towards this club, Barcelona has not taken this lightly. They are completely surprised to see that Arthur Melo is acting in this way. And so it says here, according to Fernando Polo and Miguel Rico, it will now be studied what punishment will be imposed on him for skipping the internal regime of the wardrobe, the sports management with Eric Abidal together with the club's CEO Oscar Grau, and study the case together. So those people that will be involved in that case will study and ask themselves, okay, what are we going to do with Arthur Melo? Should we give him a fine? Should we terminate his contract? What are we going to do? So they are going to have that conversation, because remember, what Arthur Melo did do was not acceptable and very unprofessional. So right now, the main idea on Arthur's punishment would be to discount him for the remaining of his contract until the UCL is over, meaning that Barcelona is not going to terminate his contract. He will still be a FC Barcelona player, but he will not feature in the 23-man squad list for any UCL matches. He will continue to just stay in Barcelona or Brazil and do whatever he desires, and then when the UCL is finished, they will say, okay, thank you, Arthur Melo, thank you for your services, you can now go to Juventus. And then according to Fernando Polo, he has stated that according to the club, Arthur has already been thinking more about Juventus than thinking of trying to help Barcelona to win 2 titles they had at stake. From the player's background, it is explained that it was on Sunday when Arthur warned himself to the club of his intentions about not to rejoin the club, to terminate his contract, and to continue vacation in Brazil. So this is only explaining one thing, and that is Arthur Melo did express earlier from the day that we did hear this news that Arthur Melo did not want to rejoin FC Barcelona. And even though Arthur Melo did inform Barcelona on Sunday instead of Monday when we did hear it, that still does not make it okay, because when you are trying to inform a club about you not wanting to return forever, this is something that you have to do eye to eye. You have to meet with somebody and tell them what you want to do. You can't be 20,000, 30,000 miles away from that person and say, I'm never going to return. Again, that's extremely unprofessional. You also need to let this club know ahead of time what you intend to do, because what Arthur Melo did do was that he basically left last minute, leaving this squad, this club, very vulnerable against Napoli. It even got to a point where I even had to report about Monchu coming into the UCL. That's the only reason why Monchu was going to feature in that squad. Yes, it's also because Busquets and Vidal is not going to be there, but also Arthur Melo is not going to be there, which increased the chances of Monchu featuring in this team. And look, I get it. Arthur Melo should show his frustration towards this board by the way this board has been treating Arthur Melo. But the one thing that I would tell Arthur Melo is to make these decisions based off his teammates, not the board. He should be able to come back to Barcelona and return and give it his all for his teammates. And I'm talking about De Jong, Lionel Messi, Suarez, Rakitic, Ricky Puig, Lenglet Piqué, all of these players that he has been knowing since coming out from Brazil. That is who he should be doing it for, not for the board. Because it clearly makes no sense for Arthur Melo to tell his teammates when he did come back from that Juventus medical test that he was going to give it his all for the remaining of the season with FC Barcelona, have his teammates trust him, and then out of nowhere Arthur Melo just leaves and say that he does not want to return. That is turning your back on your teammates. And it says here, according to Rack 1, Barcelona have decided to open a discipline case against Arthur after checking that the footballer did not show up for training today either. The club will not negotiate the termination of the contract with the footballer. And so in the end, Arthur Melo and the club were both wrong. The club was wrong for starting this whole drama, and Arthur Melo is also wrong for ending it in the way that he ended it. And so whatever new details do arise with this Arthur Melo case on how Barcelona is going to move forward with this, we will be talking about it here in this channel, so make sure to stay tuned. And now moving on to the next topic of the day, and we're going going to be talking about Felipe Coutinho and Rakitic. And these are just going to be quick minor updates about Coutinho and Rakitic, and we are first going to start with Coutinho. And it says here, sources close to the player told Moises Llorens, who does work at ESPN, that Bayern is Coutinho's only focus for now, with no major advances in terms of finding a new home for next season. And so as expected, we should not expect Coutinho or Bayern to be working on a move out, nor Barcelona. So this report means nothing. And even though it does say that Coutinho and Bayern Munich are not working on any transfer, the selling of Coutinho is still going to be on, regardless of what this report says. After the UCL is over, then we will be hearing Coutinho moving towards a Premier League team or an Italian team. But in the end, Coutinho is going to be sold eventually in this summer. Moving on to Rakitic, and it says here, according to Gabriel Sanz at the Camp Nou, they prefer to sell Rakitic this summer, regardless of the position favorable to the continuity of Kike Setien, but the player hasn't moved an inch. He still wants to fulfill his contract, which ends in 2021. And so it is clear that Rakitic does not want to move. The only way Rakitic would leave is if Sevilla does come knocking on the door, or if a club comes in and offers him a very high wage. And coming from the club's perspective and the fans' perspective, I think that the ultimate decision on what we want to do with Rakitic is that we do want to see Rakitic move away from this club, because he simply just needs to go. And I'm saying this because of 4 reasons. One is because Rakitic is one of the highest earners in FC Barcelona, so his wage bill is extremely high for Barcelona right now. Number 2, his price tag right now is around 20 to 22 million euros, which means that we could really still sell him for a good amount. Number 3 is that we need to use that money to fund other operations. Barcelona do want to complete other transfers in this summer, and one of the players that have to go is Rakitic. And number 4, we do have the emergence of these young players, and there is no way these young players can continue to develop in this team if players like Rakitic or maybe, for example, Vidal do stay in this team. These young players need to come up, and the best solution is to sell Rakitic first. So there are more cons than pros when it comes to Rakitic staying at FC Barcelona, and so let's hope that Barcelona do work out something quickly with another club, maybe even Sevilla, in order for Rakitic to exit this club in this summer. So that'll be it for today's Barcelona Daily News. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here, please like, subscribe, comment. Welcome to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.